Hello, team members. I'm happy to present to you section Daleth. My soul cleaveth unto the dust. Quicken thou me according to thy word. I have declared my ways, and thou heardest me. Teach me thy statutes. Make me to understand the way of thy precepts. So shall I talk of thy wondrous works. My soul melteth for heaviness. Strengthen thou me according to thy word. Remove from me the way of lying, and grant me thy law graciously. I have chosen the way of truth. Thy judgments have I laid before me. I have stuck unto thy testimonies. O Lord, put me not to shame. I will run the way of thy commandments, when thou shalt enlarge my heart. This section was really challenging to me. I gleaned a lot from it, and one thing that really stuck out to me was just the flow of the whole section, and how that in the beginning he starts with his soul cleaving unto the dust, and just the inclinations of his heart to just cling to earthly things, and is just on the ground, is not going anywhere spiritually. And then at the end of the section you see him running the way of God's commandments. And then, so to put it in context and see how he got from one point to the other, the path of revival, is really, really fascinating. And how he declares his ways before God and pleads with God to just goad him in the way of truth. He asks God for understanding, to just be able to see how wondrous God's works are. And he admits his weakness and asks God for strength. Then he deals with the deception of his own heart and chooses instead the way of truth. And it's really neat how in verse 31 it talks about how his heart he sticks unto God's testimonies rather than unto the dust of this earth. It's the same word for cleave and to stick unto God's testimonies. And that was fascinating to see the path, the different steps that the psalmist took, so that he was able to God brought him through cleaving to the dust, all the way to running the path of God's commandments. And but the verse that really, one specific verse that I wanted to talk about was the verse, "Remove from me the way of lying." And this was a big challenge to me, especially when Pastor Eastwood brought out in his email there the tendency of our own hearts to lie to ourselves. And I think especially the biggest lie that, at least one of the biggest lies that I'm prone to, is the one it talks about in James, that when we hear God's word but fail to be doers of it, we deceive ourselves. And this really convicted me. I think that as we read God's word and attend church faithfully and do all these things, God's word does go in, and we are learning, but there is a propensity of our hearts to think that's enough, to think that's okay. I don't need to. I'm going to church, I'm learning about God's word, that's good. And we kind of blind ourselves to the fact of whether we actually are putting into practice these things. And it's been a challenge to ask God to remove that from my heart, and to instead choose the way of truth and sincerely seek God and realize that I need Him more than ever. There's no moment when I don't need Him as much as before. So this section was a big challenge, and keep up the good work. Praying for you all, and hope you're all doing well. Enjoy this day. See ya.